Red Ant's wrath. The day they brought down a snake, the sun blazed mercilessly upon the savannah, its heat baking the soil until cracks spread like veins across the land. Red ants poured out of their colony in endless streams, their bodies glinting with fire beneath the golden light. They moved with perfect rhythm, a living army shaped by discipline and unity. Unaware of the fate awaiting it, Snake slithered lazily out from beneath a stone, its scales glittering like jewels, its tongue flicking at the air in search of prey. The earth trembled with the steps of thousands of red ants. Snake paused, lifting its head high, golden eyes narrowing as it sensed vibrations beneath its belly. For a creature accustomed to striking fear into others, Snake now felt a disturbance it could not explain. Red ants marched like a burning tide, their formation tight, their purpose clear. Snake realized too late that this was not prey but an army. Snake uncoiled, its muscular body rising into a defensive curve. Its hiss cut the silence like a blade. Red ants continued their advance, undeterred by the predator's warning. 1 ant meant nothing, 10 ants meant little. But together, red ants became fire itself, consuming all in their path. Snake's body slid back and forth, trying to intimidate the advancing swarm. But fear does not exist in the heart of red ants. With explosive force, Snake struck, its tail lashing the soil with the power of a whip. Dozens of red ants were crushed instantly, their bodies flattened against the earth. Dust and debris flew into the air. But for every ant that fell, 100 more surged forward, their mandibles snapping, their determination unbroken. Snake's strike had landed. But the tide had not slowed. Red ants reached the snake, climbing its shimmering scales. They bit into the gaps, their venom burning into Snake's body like tiny sparks of fire. Snake twisted violently, slamming its body against rocks and soil, trying to shake free of the attackers. Yet the red ants clung tighter, biting deeper, their tiny jaws turning the predator's strength into agony. Snake hissed furiously, its body coiling into circles, smashing itself against the ground in a desperate attempt to rid itself of the swarm. The ground quaked beneath its power, crushing hundreds more ants. But red ants fought in unity. Every soldier knew its role, to bite, to hold, to sacrifice, to burn. Snake's scales, once symbols of power, became the battlefield. Snake struck again, this time with its fangs, venom spraying across the soil. Ants dissolved in pools of poison, their bodies burning away. But still, more came. Red ants climbed Snake's mouth, its eyes, its nostrils. Snake's thrashing turned wild, its hiss turning into a scream of rage. For the first time, the hunter felt what it was like to be hunted. The red ants did not falter. They attacked in waves, biting relentlessly at Snake's soft underbelly, at the thin membranes between scales. Each bite was small. But together they became overwhelming. Snake writhed harder, smashing itself against a tree. The trunk cracked, splinters flying. But the ants refused to release. Snake's eyes widened in agony as red ants bit into the sensitive flesh around them. Vision blurred, pain overwhelmed its senses. Snake rolled violently, dust rising in clouds. But the army clung like fire spreading through dry grass. Every movement brought more pain, every strike only exhausted its strength further. The savannah rang with the sounds of battle. The hiss of snake, the crackle of soil, the endless clicking of mandibles. Birds circled overhead, drawn by the chaos. Deer lifted their heads in the distance, ears twitching, watching from afar. The wilderness itself seemed to pause, every creature aware that something extraordinary was happening. Snake tried to retreat, its body slithering backward. But red ants had already surrounded it. The earth became a trap, walls of fire closing in from every side. Snake had no path to escape, no chance to recover. The tide had consumed it. Snake coiled again, striking wildly at the ground, killing thousands in desperation. But the sacrifice of red ants meant nothing compared to their victory. For every soldier lost, 10 more surged forward. Snake grew weaker, its coils looser, its body trembling with exhaustion. The red ants attacked its nostrils, choking Snake, suffocating it. They crawled inside its mouth, biting its tongue, its throat, filling it with fire from within. Snake gagged violently, slamming its jaws shut. But still the ants remained. Snake could no longer breathe, no longer fight as it once had. The sun burned above. But Snake felt a greater fire burning across its body. Every bite left a mark, every mark a wound. Snake's shimmering scales dulled, scarred with red. Its power drained with every thrash. Until its movements slowed. Until its strikes grew weak. Snake hissed one last desperate time, its sound echoing across the savannah like a final cry. Its body shook violently. Then collapsed into the dust. Snake lay trembling, its coils slack, its body broken. But red ants did not stop. They swarmed, biting until the predator no longer moved. Silence returned at last. But it was heavy, filled with the memory of the fire that consumed the serpent. Snake's body lay motionless. But the battlefield was alive. Red ants crawled over every inch, dismantling their fallen enemy. They carried pieces back to their nest, feeding their queen, feeding their young, turning the predator into nourishment. Snake had lived as hunter. But now Snake became sustenance for the smallest of creatures. The wilderness acknowledged the shift. Birds landed cautiously, watching the red ants. Other animals avoided the sight, respecting the army's victory. Even the soil carried the scent of venom and fire, a reminder of the battle that had taken place. Snake had fallen. And the savannah would not forget. For the red ants, victory was not celebration but survival. They did not fight for glory, but for the colony. Each soldier gave its life willingly, knowing the queen must live, the future must endure. The death of Snake was not cruelty, but the cycle of nature itself. Snake's fall became legend. The story spread through instinct, carried by every creature that witnessed it. Predators learned caution, avoiding the red rivers that marched across the soil. Red ants had earned respect from every corner of the wilderness. The soil itself bore scars, crushed earth, broken branches, bloodstains fading into dust. It became a monument to struggle and survival, a memory written not in stone but in the earth. The colony of red ants thrived after that day. Their numbers grew, their tunnels expanded, their queen nourished. The sacrifice of thousands became the victory of millions. The army had proven that unity was the greatest weapon. Snake's story did not end with defeat. It ended with transformation. Its body returned to the earth, to the ants, to the land. Its energy fed new life, its strength recycled into survival. In its fall, Snake remained part of the eternal cycle. Red ants disappeared into the soil once more, their fire hidden but alive, waiting for the next challenge. To the eye, they were gone. But to the memory of nature, they had become legend. The lesson was clear: size does not define power. Snake had venom, strength, speed, and hunger. But red ants had numbers, courage, sacrifice, and unity. And in the end, fire consumed Fang. The battle of red ants and Snake became more than a fight, it became a parable of existence. Even the smallest can rise, even the weakest can win, even the greatest can fall. The savannah carried the story in silence. Grass whispered it in the wind, birds carried it in flight, soil remembered it in stillness. The day red ants brought down Snake was written into the wilderness forever. And so, the tale endures: red ants, tiny yet countless, rose against a predator that had ruled the land. And proved that when united, nothing is impossible.